Hello, hi, it's me, Yvonne Keller. Um, haven't been on in a while, but I decided to come on today just because I just been feeling some kind of way. I went to see my mother in this assisted living home that my sister has in somebody's private house assistant live that they turned into an assisted living home. And my sister, which is her guardian, Curleen Addison, she placed my mother in the assisted living facility, like right around the corner from her house. Like, her house was not good enough for my mother to stay in, although, yeah, she went through a whole lot of my mother's money in fixing her house up and buying beds and renovating this and that and the other. But now that everything is done, now she don't want my mother. So she put her in an assisted living home, like one street away from her street. And she put her out in the area where she lived, which is far from everybody else and from where my mother's original home was. So the people who would normally get to go visit my mother, they can't go visit my mother. How we used to stop by and go see my mother every day, and we can't. It's possible, but the traffic and the distance makes it a little more difficult to do. So, I was just thinking how messed up some people really are. For you to take your own mother, the person who gave you birth. And I think that a lot of what my sister's doing is based on resentment because my mother did not raise her. Yes, I probably told you before, but I'll tell you again. When my mother was young, my mother's mother died when she was 13 years old. My mother was raised by her grandmother, and everybody know back in the day, the grandmothers and the older people, they did not play games, okay? So my sister, or my stepsister, the guardian, her dad was a lot older than my mother. And so he was in the military or whatever. And so when he got my mother pregnant, her grandmother said no, she was only 17. She said, he has to take that baby. So my sister, my stepsister, the guardian, I'm going to just call her the guardian because I don't even really feel comfortable in calling her a sister, because a sister wouldn't even do anything like that, okay? So the guardian, she was raised by her aunt, her father's sister, in Dallas, Texas, and she was not raised with the family, with us, but back then she was the only child my mother had. So so it's I feel like it's a lot of resentment. People carry resentment for years and years and years. Something that could have happened to you in your childhood, and you could be 70 years old and you still carrying that resentment. That's because they haven't learned how to let go and let God. They haven't built that relationship with God and got that problem fixed. She never went to her mother or our mother to ask questions to find out what was going on. See, I did. I asked my mother questions about everything. I know some more family secrets within my own family, blood brothers and sisters, that my brothers and sisters don't know. But my mother has shared it with me because I was always inquisitive and I've always questioned her about things. So, and she always was open and honest with me and told me the truth. So that's why I know some things, a lot of things they don't know. like I've always asked my mother, what would she want us to do in her old age? Mom, when you get elderly, what do you want? Do you want us to, put you in a facility? Do you want us to take care of you? Do you want to stay in your house? I asked those questions so many times. Me and my sister Matilda, aka Tit, God rest her soul. But me and Tit, we used to talk to my mother and we used to argue over who was going to take care of my mother. And my mother used to say, I'm going to leave Matilda everything I got. Because I used to say, Mom, I could do everything, but I just can't change no poopy pampers, okay? And I was like, I can't do the poopy pamper thing like that. So my sister Tip would say, oh, you're my black, beautiful queen. I'll change you. I'll do this. I'll do that. I would do anything. And my mother just used to love it and suck it up. But unfortunately, my sister Tit, she passed away before my mom. She passed away back in 2014. Don't even seem like it's been that long. But yeah, she's been gone for some years now. And so now I'm left with the two sisters that were not really raised in the household with us. My one sister, my other sister, Thelma, she mostly was raised by my uncle and his wife, along with my cousin Christine. So a lot of times she wasn't at the house with us. She always was privileged to have like a little better lifestyle than to be in the house with 10 people. She was over in the house with just 2 people, and my uncle and my aunt. So they kind of like catered to them and spoiled them. And they had some of the finer things in life. And so, and it kind of like explains her mentality also now. But those are the 2 sisters who for some reason are doing anything and everything in their power to try to hurt me. But see, what they don't realize is, and you would take and hurt your own mother to hurt me. I'm the one sister in the family. I'm the youngest. Okay? I don't own my own home. I don't have a whole lot of money. I don't have no money for real. It's nothing that, look at my hair. I don't even keep my hair done. No makeup. I'm just a plain Jane. I'm not materialistic. I just keep it to earth. I keep it. I'm down to earth. I keep it real. I don't have no cut card. I have very good common sense. And I don't take no shit. But if I got you, I got you. And there's so many times I done stood up in defense for my family. Stood up. They used to come and get me. When my mother had houses, and one of the guys, a Jamaican guy, he wouldn't pay his rent. And so my mother let my other sister be in charge. I'm like, really? So, but when it was time for them to go serve the dude the eviction papers and tell him he had to leave, they came and got me. They came and got me. So I went over there, big bad Vonnie, yeah, you got to go. And he called the police on me, So this the type of stuff that I've been through with them. Even when my mother was going through things, my mother had a lot of houses. It was a woman who was operating in Prince George's County. She was a crook. And my mother was just a good-hearted person, and she knew that. And she got my mother to buy all these houses, and what she was doing was tacking on all this extra money for the loan, and she was stealing the money. So let's say if the house cost $96,000, she would make the loan for like $130,000, and she would put like $30,000 in her pocket straight off the top. And so she got my mother several times like that, And then when the houses was going into when my mother started having issues with the houses because the people wasn't paying their rent and stuff, the mortgage companies some kind of way they stole a house. My mother been through some shit, and when she was going through it, guess who was riding to the attorneys with her all out Silver Spring, Maryland, and everywhere to try to help her save her investments? It was me. The one. She could have went to any one of my brothers and sisters and asked them for $5,000. But you know who she came and asked for? She asked me. And she wanted me to ask any of my friends, could somebody loan her $5,000? But the very ones who didn't want to help her with anything, although she helped most of them get houses and all that, hey, those are the ones who threw her straight up under the bus. Straight up under the bus. Every last one of my brothers and sisters who are living, okay? The living ones. And then they okay with my mother being in somebody else's house, paying them almost $5,000 a month. They was all right with her taking her out of her house with the fake eviction that 2 Prince George's County police officers and Adult Protective Services investigator Amsel Bagali came and evicted them out of the house because I called Adult Protective Services on behalf of my mother because she wanted to take the guardian, who wasn't the guardian at the time, she wanted to take her to court for exploitation. So when I contacted APS, Miss Bagali called me back and told me she was going to do the investigation. Well, if you go back on some of my videos, you'll hear that story, how crooked she was, because ended up she didn't investigate the guardian at all. She's the reason why the guardian is the guardian. What she did was she flipped the script on me because she was a personal friend to my sister. And so my mother got no justice at all by going to Adult Protective Services. And that's why I would never go to Adult Protective Services for nothing. I don't trust them. The very system that my mother gave her all her life to and worked for the state of Maryland social services, those the very people who fucked her, okay, and got her in the situation she in. Excuse my language. But those are the very people who did what they did. And that's why her situation is like it is now. Okay, but this thing is so heartbreaking, and it messes me up so bad mentally, that I just thank God that He gives me strength. He gives me the strength to just hold my head up and to keep on moving on, because what they did to my mother, I wouldn't do it to a dog. And then they ran around my own siblings, okay? They ran around and they talked about me like a dog. They lied on me. They said I stole money from my mother. I have never had to steal anything from my mother. My mother has spoiled me all my days. My mother has given me anything I've asked for and things that I haven't asked for. And she treated my children the same way. My mother came to my house every time I had a baby. When I was in her house, I had the oldest one when I was there. But every baby I had, my mother took care of my child for the first week of their life, okay? Every last one of mine, okay? And I got 5, okay? That's the bond that me and my mother has. My mother loved me so much, and she always has. She loved all of her children, but my mother has a special love for me. And they all know it, because every time I would go to her house and they would call on the phone, the first thing she would say is, Bonnie over here. Oh, Bonnie over here. Oh, Bonnie over here fixing me all this food. Oh, Bonnie over here doing my hair. Oh, Bonnie done cleaned up my house. Oh, Bonnie. She always bragged on whatever I did for her or when I was around her. And they used to hate it. And the very ones who hated it, they did what they could to get me away from my mother, to separate the bond, to put the mother over here and the baby over there, and to treat my mother like shit to hurt me. I went to see my mother yesterday. When I got up there to see my mother, I called the lady up who worked at the place. Her name is Pat. And I said, but Pat, I'm on my way over there to see my mother. I said, I'm going to take her out for a little while. I'm probably going to take her to the casino and let her hit the slots a little bit. Because my mother, even though she never been a gambler, my mother, she likes to go to the slots now. I mean, in her old age, she'd be tearing that machine up. I'm like, Mom, slow down. Slow down now. You spending my money, okay? Because they got her money all locked down. She can't spend her money. She can't use her money. She can't do anything she want with her money. She got the white man who controls her money, which she told me don't never put my money in the white man's hand. And not that she's racist. She means the court, okay? But it is literally in a white man's hand, okay? By the name of John Temple. He controls her every dollar, okay? So I went to see my mother. And when I told her I was going to take my mother out for a little while, she said to me, well, I can't let you take her because Curleen said if anywhere she go, I have to have her permission. Now, Curleen got me blocked on her phone. She doesn't answer when I call. We don't communicate very well together at all. So you got my mother in an assisted living facility because you don't want to be bothered, but yet you want to have control so that if me, as her daughter, want to go get her and take her out, I have to ask your permission. That shit burns me up. That shit burns me up, okay? Now, they all said they don't want my mother. They all said that, her dementia when she had a UTI is so bad that they think she needs to be in a facility. I'm crying on the other hand, Your Honor, give me my mother. I don't care what she got. I'm the one who took her to the hospital and found out it was a UTI. It wasn't no dementia. I mean, she might have a little dementia, but you can have a little dementia don't mean that you not competent, okay? So I cried and begged for my mother. Let me take care of I was already taking care of her 2 months out of the year because my sister was sending her from pillar to post. That's how she got the UTIs and was so sicked up in the first place. So y'all don't want y'all 2 months no more. Y'all don't want to deal with her no more. Give it to me. I'll take her for 12 months out the year. Y'all can keep the money because the one who y'all think is so pressed for money, God bless me in ways that you wouldn't even believe, okay? I'm not pressed about no money. Money don't mean that much to me, okay? I wish I had a little more, but I don't need no money from my mother to take care of my mother after all she has done for me. She made me into the person who I am today, okay? But anyway, when I got there with my mother and she wouldn't let me take her because she said I had to get permission from my sister, I just said, you know what? I'm not calling this girl. I called the court. And I'm just going to have to get back in the court. I got some things I'm working on that I really don't want to talk about on here because, me and running my mouth, talking too much, like my mother always said I did all my life. I was letting them into what my plans were. And that's how I've been getting defeated in everything that I have attempted to do with them. So this time, I'm going at it a different approach, and I'm not going to expose what's going on, the element of surprise. Okay, it's going to be the element of surprise. But anyway, I refused to call this guardian and ask her for permission to take my mother out when she ain't doing nothing with her. She don't even want her at her house, but she don't want me to have her at mine. That's a selfish, yep, that's what she is. Anyway, so I just sit down with my mother and I hugs up on her and loves up on her and tell her how much I love her and tell her that I'm still fighting for her. And she always say, well, I'm ready to go home now. All right, come on, I'm going with you. And I can't take her with me. So that's one of the reasons why I really don't like to go to see her, because every time I go to see her, she wants to leave and go with me. She wants to come to my house. And I can't just take her, because then I would be in violation of this court order. Okay? So I just sit there with my mom and the girl who, the caretaker, she I like her. We sit down and she put a movie on and we watch the movie, and I sit there and watch the movie with her and everything. And then my mom's lips was so white. Mine might be white now, but my mom's lip was so white and cakey up, like caked up with phlegm, like a coating on. And I had to get her to get something to wipe my mother's mouth and give my mother something to drink. When she got that big cup of whatever she had in it for my mother to drink, with a straw, it was a big tall cup with a straw in it. My mother sucked that whole cup of whatever it was like she was a camel and just got to the water. Like she was parched. She was so thirsty. And see, and that's another thing I don't like. I know my mother. I know what she likes. I know when she's hungry. I know when she wants to eat. It's certain things she says to let me know that she wants something to eat or she wants something to drink. It's certain things that she say and does. But by her being at this place, okay, so at 8 o'clock in the morning, they're eating breakfast, okay? At 12 o'clock in the afternoon, they're eating lunch. At 5 o'clock, they're eating dinner. And now I've been calling my mother, and she been putting my mother in the bed at 7 o'clock. And I talked to my mother the other day. She said, I'm getting ready to go to bed. I said, it's 7 o'clock. She said, oh, it's only 7 o'clock. I said, yeah. She said, oh, I ain't know it was it. I said, the sun's still shining. But you won't put my mother in the bed at 7 o'clock. Because, see, when you're making $5,000 a month, and you got 4 people you taking care of, and you got cooked meals for, okay, you're going to put everybody on a schedule. Okay, when you eat, you're going to eat, you're going to eat, and you're going to eat. Okay? I'm going to put this food on a paper plate. I'm going to feed y'all, and that's going to be that. And I'm going to give you your breakfast. Y'all going to eat. I'm going to give you lunch. I'm going to throw together a pot of goulash or something. Okay? And then I'm going to give you your dinner. And that's going to be another pot of something thrown together. Okay? The easy way out. I cook my mother home-cooked meals. And I'm not saying that they don't have home-cooked meals, because I'm sure they do sometimes. But I'm just saying, you got my mother on a schedule like she's a robot or something. Okay? My mother, I'm used to keeping snacks by my mother. We used to keep snacks by my mother's bedside. Anytime somebody would come and visit my mother, they would bring snacks or goodies, or if they wanted a snack, they'd be sitting right on my mother, like on the stand beside my mother's bed. I had like bananas, I had oranges, I had the little cheese and peanut butter crackers. She had candy, stuff like that.